Hey, welcome everybody to today's episode where we're going to dive into something that affects all of us at some point: keeping up with the Joneses. You know what I'm talking about. It's that constant comparison trap where you feel like you have to measure up to your neighbor's new car, your coworker's fancy vacation, or your old classmate's perfectly curated Instagram life. But here's the thing. The Joneses, they may not even be as happy as they look. So today, I thought we'd talk about stepping off that exhausting treadmill and really finding the real joy instead. Plus, as a money coach, I'll be sharing some practical tips on breaking free from the credit card debt and creating financial peace. So let's dive right in. Do you ever feel like you're stuck running a race you never signed up for? You wake up, scroll through social media, and bam, there's your friend's brand new truck. Or your cousin just remodeled their kitchen. Suddenly, your home feels outdated. Or maybe your coworker just got back from a 2-week European vacation, and you're over here just trying to figure out how in the world you can stretch your paycheck until the end of the month. That feeling, that's pressure. The pressure of keeping up with the Joneses. And unfortunately, it's real in America today. But let's step back for a second. Let's look at the Joneses, because they may be drowning in debt. They may be up at night stressing about how to pay for that new car or that dream vacation. It's that buyer's remorse. You buy the truck, and a lot of times before that first payment's due, you're double thinking. You're like, what in the world did I get myself into? And we see on social media, it's often just the highlight reel. We're not seeing the behind the scenes struggle that actually happens. So what if we stop trying to keep up and start focusing on what actually brings us joy? What do you think that would look like? Let's break it down. Joy is not found in the newest gadget, the biggest house, or the flashiest car. Those things might bring a temporary thrill, but they don't last. Real joy comes from gratitude. When you appreciate what you have instead of constantly chasing down what you don't, life feels fuller. And contentment. Learning to be satisfied with enough instead of always wanting more brings peace. Giving, generosity. When you give, whether it's your time, your talent, or your resources, you experience a deeper fulfillment than any shopping spree could ever bring. And then strong relationships. The best moments in life aren't about what you own, but who you share them with. Investing in relationships over stuff always pays off in the end. Think about the movies. Hollywood even portrays this. Well, I can speak today. The hero finally gets to where he wants to go, and he turns around and looks for the person who helped get him there or who walked with him. He looks for his wife. I know every time I get somewhere, take another level, or achieve something that I've wanted to achieve, I always look to my wife to experience that joy with her. And so let's talk about the cost of comparison. Let's be honest. When we try to keep up with someone else's lifestyle, we're often spending money that we don't have to buy things we don't need to impress the people who probably don't even notice. And that's exhausting and expensive. I mean, I've seen it time and time again as a money coach. People racking up credit card debt just to keep up appearances. And let me tell you, nothing steals your joy faster than a high interest debt weighing you down. So take a deep breath and ask yourself, do I even want the things I'm chasing? Or do I just think I should want them because that's what everybody else has or is doing? You know, if the answer is the second one, then it's time to reset. You know, it's that old saying Mom used to say when I was a kid. If everybody else was jumping off a bridge, would you do it? I don't know. It depends on what's happening behind me, Mom. So how to break free from the Joneses and the credit card debt cycle. So let's get some practical advice here. How do you step out of the comparison game and into a life of joy and financial freedom? Here's 5 steps you can take to get started. Number 1, define your own success. What really matters to you? Is it a debt-free life? More time with family? Your peace of mind? You want to get clear on your goals, not someone else's goals. If you're married, I recommend you guys have a dream date. And when I say a dream date, I'm not saying this is the date you've always wanted to do with your spouse. I'm saying go on a date to dream. Maybe go on a long weekend, or if you can't afford that, even just an overnight. Go to a nicer restaurant and ask for a table in a corner that you can sit at for a couple hours. And just sit there and dream. I used to say dream in HD. But with 4K out now, crystallize that and make it crystal clear. And then you want to live within your means. You want to make sure that you can reach your goals and your dreams. But in order to do that, you got to spend less than what you make. And just because you can afford something doesn't mean you should. Avoiding debt and save wisely and be intentional with your spending. You know, debt is living in the past, not saving for the future. You want to ditch your credit cards, number 3. If you're buried under high interest debt, it's time to make a plan. Get on a written budget or a written spending plan. Cut your unnecessary expenses and tackle that debt with intensity. The sooner you break free, the more peace you'll have. Number 4, you're going to want to limit social media. More and more studies are coming out at the negative effects of social media, not just on kids, but on adults also. I can't tell you the number of times sometimes I have found myself just scrolling mindlessly through reels or shorts or anything like that while sitting on the couch across from my wife. And I got to put that phone down, or I got to put the iPad away, or I've got to shut the computer off and have a conversation with her versus just sitting there blindlessly scrolling. And yeah, I've actually found myself sitting on the couch with the phone and waking up from a little nap because I fell asleep scrolling and my finger's still scrolling. That's pretty bad. And number 5, we want to practice gratitude. You know, each day, find 3 things you're thankful for. I'm going to encourage you to keep a log or a journal. Find 3 things you're grateful for, you're thankful for, and write them down. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's missing to your abundance. Let me rephrase that again. Or let me say that again, I should say. Gratitude is going to shift your focus from what you don't have to what you do have. Now, what's the bottom line? At the end of the day, joy is not about how much stuff you have. It's about how you see what you do have. The Joneses aren't your competition. They're probably struggling just like you, but instead of chasing their lifestyle, how about focus on building a life that brings you peace, fulfillment, and true joy? And if you're trapped by credit card debt, know this: you don't have to stay stuck. As a money coach, I help people like you break free from the cycle of debt and find financial peace. And if you need a plan, please reach out. You can take control of your money. You can build a future that's not weighed down by debt, because the best things in life aren't things at all. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. This episode, if it resonated with you, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, leave a review, and share it with a friend who might need this reminder. And if you're ready to get serious about your finances, let's connect. Until next time, take care and keep chasing what truly matters.